Okay, Commissioner Giobe, do you have
I'm saving my comments for the commission meeting. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark?
Nothing right now.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
I had reached out to Pinal earlier for as much, but I was looking to see if she could provide a brief update on where we're at with Guy Davis and the skate park.
Sure, thank you for giving me the heads up. So there were 3 pending items since we last met in July of this year. We were coordinating with FP&L. We were finishing up the stormwater report and finalizing the skate park design. So just last week, we received the redesign plans from FP&L for the relocation of the poles. Our consultant is reviewing that right now, and as soon as that's approved, we'll issue permit to FP&L to go ahead and start relocating those poles. That will happen prior to us going in to do our construction. So that's moving forward. The drainage report was just submitted to South Florida Water Management District earlier this month. So the best case scenario is that we should have comments from them by December 7th. That's the date we saw in the portal. And we'll respond to them by end of December, and we hope to have the permit issued by end of January. That's if we don't run into any issues with the holidays. But if we do, then we expect to have comments and responses completed and permit issued by end of February or early March. So that's also moving forward. Spawn Ranch design, we did give them a go-ahead after our CRA meeting to start preparing the plans. They were waiting for us to finalize our stormwater report just in case if they need to modify any design. So we expect to have their progress plans by end of December and their sign and seal plans by January. So as you can tell, everything is kind of aligning to January, February. So as soon as we have all that approval and permits, we'll go ahead and submit our permits to our building department to have them review the plans. And they have been reviewing the plans throughout the process, but in order to issue the permit, we have to formally submit the plans through the portal and have those permits issued so that we can go out for construction. We will advertise bids sometimes as soon as we have the permits, the building permits, hopefully by end of May. This is, again, just worst case scenario. If everything goes in line with reviews, then we hope to start construction by late summer, early fall.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Government moves slowly. Commissioner Clark?
Oh, were you going to ask Mr. Burkeville and them, or just the commission? Okay, all right,
Well,
that's fine. No,
you
since
have a question regarding this issue?
it wasn't regarding that issue, but I wanted to make a comment since I didn't do anything when it came to commissioner board comments.
You wanted me to come back to you?
Yes, you can come back to me.
Okay. Does that conclude your remarks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Clark?
Oh, I'm back. You're back that quick. Yes. So since this is a CRA meeting, my question is for Mr. Baggett, is we won't have any CRA, we'll have a CRA meeting in December? No?
Yeah, we have a CRA meeting no, we don't have a CRA meeting,
not in
sorry.
December.
Just the CRB, which was canceled.
Okay, all right, so then when would we expect to have, do we need it to come back to the meeting or just have something done on the Hamilton property with regard to submitting things back to the state? Since this is weird, I think it's a CRA project.
We still, Lee Baggett for the record, city attorney. We are still trying to finalize the scope of work. So Friday at the very end of the day, we've got a response from the Hamiltons on our last proposed scope of work. And I'm supposed to schedule a time to meet with certain city staff to go over their actual provisions and comments that they had made most recent. We did not have time to do that today, and being a short week, I'm not sure if it'll get accomplished this week, but at the latest, it'll be next week, and then we'll have to respond to the Hamiltons again.
And can you, both you and Pinal, recap for me the timeline, that if they do something and it goes to the DEO and something else happens or it doesn't happen, what exactly happens? Can you just
We-
recap
we-
that?
We have to finalize the scope of work. That's the work that will be done, that will go out for bid to contractors so that they can bid on it. Before it goes out for bid, once we agree to a scope of work, and before it goes out to bid, we must present it to the Department of Commerce for their approval, and then also SHPO on the state's historical office. So we have, and that, I'd say 15, 30 days for each of those. Is that probably a rough estimate?
We can try to expedite it, so hopefully by end of January, but we really need to come to a conclusion with the scope by early January in order to complete the project, because we requested 6 months extension. I think that brings us to about August. So we really need to nail down the scope as soon as
It's
possible.
been getting narrowed, the scope of work, the issues that the city has and the Hamiltons have.
Do we need to instruct you further?
Not at the moment. If we come to an impasse and we can't agree to certain terms, we might have to bring it back before you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Do you have,
No, that's it.
Commissioner Giovi, you have a comment on?
No.
Oh, okay. Board Member James, do you have any?
No comments.
No. Board Member Breckbill?
I just have one comment. Relative to the issue that came up with the formula business and what we have to do to approve or disapprove one of those, I think that needs some work. I think we need our legal counsel to take a look at it. I think we need to have something more definitive, or maybe not, but I think we need to give guidance to staff as to what would qualify and what wouldn't qualify, because it puts everybody in a really tough spot, and it probably puts the city in a tough spot down the road if if somebody else comes in that's got similar characteristics but maybe not the same attributes that we want, and we don't define what those are, and so we're stuck with whoever comes in. So I'd just like to see the commission maybe put a little emphasis on trying to make that a little bit more objective in terms of how to approach those.
Okay, that's not a bad,
I just have a question for
okay.
Commissioner Parker. Are you talking about having guidelines, or I guess I'm just missing what you're looking for? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's 14, I think, different things that are laid out, and some of those are very clear. But the one that's probably going to come into play the most is, will this have a significant impact, negative impact on the downtown? And that's really broad. I mean, you could look at it as very narrow. Is it a product that competes with another store, or is it, these guys are bigger and stronger and have more sources of income, so they can afford to pay the rents downtown, where our local businesses might not be able to. So it's that concept that I'm concerned about. Is we definitely don't want empty storefronts.
No.
But at the same time, we have to be careful, because we set precedent for the next, that comes in, and we may not want them. Like I said, that was a pretty large, they were a pretty large company. They had 92 locations around the United States, and the applicant had 3 or 4 of their own. So when Subway or Tropical Smoothie or somebody like that works under the same type of scenario comes in, do we turn them down? How do we turn them down? Or
I think it left a lot of discretion, too, to discuss it among the commissioners. Yes, I understand there are large and they're across the United States, but there are none in this area. Can't say the same for Tropical Smoothie and Subway. You can hit most corners in Stuart between here and Palm City or wherever and hit a few.
Yeah.
That isn't going to happen with this entity.
I'm not saying that wasn't a good decision to let them in, all right? That's not it at all. I'm just saying, let's take the scenario you're talking about. What if they had 2 other locations downtown, or another location? Would we still approve them?
No, I think that's where it's
why
left
we
to
have
the
the
discretion of the commissioners, who could say, no, I'm sorry. First of all, they shouldn't have had 2 already downtown. That would have been the issue. because it's somewhere along the line, 2 other commission boards would have approved it. So I think it's, it's a good
That's
thing
what I'm
to be
saying.
able to.
It leaves it up to the discretion, and that's good to some degree, but it's very difficult. I think Lee would probably say it's probably very difficult to defend when, when somebody walks in with similar circumstances and you just don't happen to like how big they are or where they're at, and
Be unhappy.
and I just think that it's something that it puts the staff in a tough position. I don't know they would, specifically know how to turn somebody down. We haven't turned somebody down for a long time, ever, I don't think. We had the same franchise downtown before. I mean, they could have said they were grandfathered, but, the question is, so that's why I bring it up. I think it's something probably the commission might, but I think it's CRA needs to look at it as there's some changes that should be made.
That would probably be a good place to start, is with the CRA. And
Right.
Commissioner Reed, do you have?
Yeah, for clarification, Mark, is it like specific language you're looking for? Because I know I mentioned to Jody, you could put a limitation on a totality of how many formula-based businesses, because I think the whole purpose of that 300 square foot was to limit it to some degree, like if they were spaced out. But if we just provide relief for it anyway,
Yeah, I think
then what's the point in having it?
when you say something about having a broad impact and you don't specifically say what it is that's causing that broad impact, positive or negative, it makes it very difficult then for staff to do. That's the one that's the problem. And so all I'm saying is I think that first item needs further clarification as to examples. Maybe all we do, we're not bound by, but maybe we might give examples of the types of things that we might not want or might not approve or whatever. Just put people on warning.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think I'd like to think most board members wouldn't want some of the businesses that are formula-based businesses down there, like Starbucks, McDonald's. Those are like given ones, I guess. And I guess the real question is like you were saying, do they have an advantage over another local business? I mean, it's debatable. Some of these businesses might not even turn a profit. We don't know their financial. Some of those people, it could be a second, third, fourth business. Some people have businesses to not turn a profit, just to keep them busy, I guess. But I get what you're saying, and I know a couple of the points you mentioned was like rent and stuff like that, and it's very difficult, I guess, for us because we set the policy for land development code, and then the market decides the rest. Unless, it's like we give money to Stuart Main Street or we have the mural matching grant, we have programs like that. But as far as controlling the rent and stuff, that's almost impossible. I mean,
Well, no, and I'm not talking about rent control. Wait a minute, I'm not in New York City. I'm not talking
you
rent
mentioned
control.
something about
What I'm talking about is is that it has an impact on rent because if I've got 5 locations, right, and those 5 locations are spread out even over around Florida, if Stuart is having a bad month, Mount Dora is having a good month, somebody else is having. So I've got enough. I own enough businesses, enough franchises to give me some diversity on location so that I'm not subject to the economics of that specific location. And therefore, I don't have a problem paying a little higher rent because I know I can cover it, if not from Stuart.
I'm just gonna go to the vice mayor and then. This is not the point of these comments, is to initiate a discussion for which no one is prepared except the commenter. It's a good idea, Mr. Breckbill.
Point of
Bring it
order.
up in the CRA, put it on the agenda.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
You know,
I was just answering a question, but that's good.
it's a reasonable concern. It's an old ordinance. Certainly, the retail landscape has changed, so it's sensible. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I would support also kicking that back to the CRB. You're trying to create more of a bulwark that's defensible, so it's not arbitrary and capricious to say yes or no. So the more individual, like the 300-foot designation is a specific, you can defend using that. This was within 300 feet. But to your point, if there's a number of, how many of locations are there? How many are there within a certain radius? Any specific language like that helps build, a more defensible case. And ultimately, you can say yes to whatever, but for the ones you say no to, that's what you're trying to build, is more of a shield beyond even the one 300-foot designation or what's arbitrary and capricious in what we think today would not affect or affect downtown's character.
We're moving on, Commissioner Joby.
I have a question for the city attorney. My question is this not the point where we can all speak to each other and discuss these items?
If it's on discussion and
You can, but I would discourage taking action because it hadn't been properly noticed. So I think the best thing would be, if you want to discuss it more, that we instruct staff to bring it back on the next CRA and put it on the agenda.
Perhaps CRB look at it and then we have a crack at
And
it.
then further discuss it on the CRA.
Should we give you direction to do that?
Yeah, I think they need direction to do
Need to
that.
happen
I think
within the
we're getting
CRB.
Okay.
Right.
You get the head nods?
They're
All right.
getting the message.
Perfect.
I have no comment. So, Mr. Baggage, get back up there. Could you read item 1 for our consideration, please?
See? You skipped it.
Resolution number 07-2025 CRA, a resolution of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Stuart, Florida, authorizing the board chair to execute an agreement between the Stuart Community Redevelopment Agency and Dana Small, who is the property owner, for a mural matching grant in the amount of $3,000 to install a mural on the exterior southern wall of a building located at 15 Southwest Flagler Avenue, providing an effective date, providing for conditions of approval, and for other purposes.
Panal? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. CRA board members, Jordan Pinkston, CRA program manager for the record. The CRA has received a mural matching grant application proposing a mural on the exterior wall of the Matilda's building located at 15 Southwest Flagler Avenue. The application is processed simultaneously with a minor conditional use application, which was approved at the CRB meeting earlier this month. The objective of the program is to use murals as a catalyst for redefining our area as a destination for arts and culture. Public art is an essential component to the community revitalization. Art strengthens communities, drives tourism, and fosters an environment of creativity and innovation. Through this community revitalization effort, we aim to engage the creative sector to drive economic development within the CRA. Applicants are eligible to receive financial assistance in the form of a 50-50 funds match, not to exceed $3,000 for a new mural artwork that is visible from the public right-of-way. Each fiscal year, the CRA budgets $20,000 for the mural matching grant program. The program is available to private property owners, limited to the commercial and mixed-use buildings within the CRA. Murals are considered temporary works of art and should be maintained for a minimum of 5 years. A mural may not use letters, words, numerals, figures, emblems, logos, or any combination thereof to advertise goods, services, or merchandise. The Mural Matching Grant Program was implemented in 2019 and has assisted with the funding of 7 murals throughout the CRA. The murals pictured are the Gilt Complex, Home Building, Old Colorado Inn, Urban Botanicals, and the VA building on MLK. As mentioned, the proposed mural will be on the exterior southern wall of the Matilda's building located at 15 Southwest Flagler Avenue. The artwork will be highly visible to the public by those visiting the shops and vehicular traffic in Confusion Corner and down Southwest Flagler Avenue. Some of you may recall the original Welcome to Stuart mosaic mural that was previously at this location. The City and Martin Arts, or Arts Council, applied for the National Endowment of the Arts Grant in 2002, and there were 4 murals created as part of the project. Welcome to Stuart was one of them. The mural was designed and created by Maureen Fulgenzi, but unfortunately over the years, tiles began to weather and the cracks and colors faded. There were also roof leaks that caused some of the smaller tiles to fall off. Ultimately, the maintenance of the mural became too difficult, and currently the proposed mural location is blank, and lights have been strategically placed above for the weighted mural. The new proposed mural will refresh the building and bring a more vibrant twist from the original mosaic mural. The new Welcome to Stuart, Happiest Seaside Town mural welcomes visitors downtown with vibrant nature-inspired elements unique to Florida. The mural has a lively vintage feel which complements the neighboring businesses and historic charm of the shopping district. The proposed mural will be about 18 feet wide by 14 feet high and correlates well with the surrounding murals in the historic downtown district. The artwork will be executed by Cynthia Santos, who has been in the industry since 2013 and has had experience working on murals of this size and quality. On November 4th, 2025, the CRB voted unanimously to approve the Matilda's minor conditional use application with the following conditions. The project shall comply with the attached mural rendering in Exhibit D. The property owner shall be responsible for maintenance of the artwork on the building located at 15 Southwest Flagler Avenue, and the artist will adjust the S in Stuart to be more visible. Also, during that meeting, there were comments made by the board about the nature elements and the sailfish included in the proposed artwork, which staff would like to address after receiving feedback from Martin Arts or the Arts Council. One concern was that the oranges, the spoonbills, and the plants were not native to Stuart. However, Florida is famous for oranges, and the color perspective complements the mural. And then the spoonbills can be found on the Treasure Coast, and the color also plays well with the overall mural. And the Monastra is not native, so sea grapes could be used, but today we certainly see plenty of these types of plants in our landscaped areas. They were also seeking confirmation that the sailfish is correctly depicted. Martin Arts confirmed that the sailfish could benefit from a slightly more defined fin to emphasize its shape. However, the style of the mural is more playful, and it can be up to interpretation, and it's not a literal rendering. The CRB also voted unanimously at that meeting to approve resolution number 07-2025 for the mural matching grant program funding without any questions.
Mr.
So the
Vice
applicant,
Mayor? Oh,
I'm sorry?
Were you done?
I was just gonna say at this time, if you'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution.
I think the Vice Mayor has some questions of you.
Really comments. This project is $21,000 estimated, right? They're getting $3,000 from us.
Correct.
This is one of those instances where I feel like, it's more of a headache for somebody to get anything from the government. I think we should leave it alone as it's presented. It's on a blue background. You can see the S fine. I love Monstera deliciosa. It's an edible plant. Oranges are fantastic. The sailfish is great. I like it how it is. They're getting $3,000 from us. I would move that we just approve it as it's presented without any other nonsense attached would be my recommendation.
So I do want to confirm,
Is it a
and I have,
motion?
No, well, I would like the rest of the commission to ask questions of staff before we make the motion.
can I just,
I
can I
think
say
staff has
something?
something to ask.
Can I say something regarding that?
Yes, sure.
If you don't mind. So actually, artwork itself, the final approved artwork is approved through CRB. So really, the artwork itself has already been approved. This is just for the mural matching grant program. So the minor code conditional use was approved through CRB only. So I can seek further guidance, but I believe the artwork can no longer be changed as per the motion that was passed by CRB.
I agree,
He
I like
doesn't
the
wanna do the
original one.
S.
Are there any other questions of staff from the commission?
So
Second.
can I?
No.
So I'd like to clarify. So the CRB made changes to the artwork then, or no?
Yes, they requested that the S be more visible as part of their motion.
And you're saying that this board can't override the CRB's ideas
Well, I
Could if we wanted to.
as an advisory board?
because it's, sorry.
Just curious.
Of course we could.
I know.
For public art specifically,
Please.
they are the approving board. That's the only one item that they get to approve and not recommend.
All right.
Okay. Why would it come before us if we have no say?
Because we have to spend the money.
But then we have to
Okay,
spend the
see,
money.
no other questions?
How do you feel about it? I mean,
Oh,
really, the,
hold on. See, no other questions for staff. I'll entertain a motion.
He did, I second.
yeah, I'd like to move approval as recommended.
Seconded.
We have a motion by the Vice Mayor and a second by Commissioner Clark. Is there any public comment on this item?
I have none.
None?
Ms. Dana.
Because you made the effort to be
Yeah,
here.
I know. And I really respect that you see how much, well, obviously financial obligation I've actually already paid in full. And I wasn't even aware that there was a grant process. So just even going through the application, I found out about this. And of course I was like, okay, that would be nice to take advantage. But, and I just realized for the record, I did not state my name. So Dana Small. I have lived in Stuart for 25 years. I've run my business, Matilda's, for 18 years in the building. We're in that said building, and we're celebrating 18 years this week. And I purchased the building myself 3 years ago after working tirelessly in the retail world. And very proud of the building. Over the last 2 years, we have spent a great deal of money investing in all impact windows and new lighting and resurfacing and all of the things that I can do to make, downtown Stuart just prettier, more aesthetic, kind of bring us up. Time we built the building, or I bought the building, we had a foundation issue, we had a roof leak, there was a crack behind it and all those things. And all of a sudden it just started unfolding as I was a new building owner and realizing I had to put more money into the space. And it was like, there wasn't really a way to salvage the mural. And I also wanted something, and, in hindsight, my mind was going towards anything that was marketable. I'm a big Instagrammer. Instagram and social platforms, run the world, whether we like it or not. And I saw this opportunity to bring it up to, this time, this moment, and not to talk about the Bright Line, but, I don't know where that falls right now, but we face the tracks. And I wanted something that when people go by and there's this anticipation, there's a happiness, something bright and cheery. And when that train slows down, any passenger train, it sees this, it sees something that not only, represents Stuart native, but also Florida. We live in Florida. This isn't Stuart, Alabama. So, whether there's a question about oranges and a Monstera and spoonbills, I just think that the artists I chose, I did invest money into looking at other artisans. I found her in Miami because I saw her piece in the Gables, and I was totally struck by the vintage feel. It reminded me of being a kid. I'm from Ohio, coming to Fort Lauderdale to visit my grandmother, kind of this copper tone vintage. No one was pinpointing, oh, those plants aren't native, or we have seagrasses versus Monstera. And I actually see spoonbills driving down my street on a regular basis. And I don't know where they live. I'd like to find them. But I just think that I want it to be happy. And Coastal Living coined us and titled us happiest seaside town in the country several years back. And
2016.
I just love that. And I even think last year USA Today also said, greatest small town in America to grow up in or build in or live in. And I just wanted something. We know sailfish capital of the world is here. We've got the colors, and I do appreciate everyone who's commented on the aesthetic of the balance of color. And I love it. And, one of the things it's very hard to understand the scale of this. And the S alone is about 6 feet tall. So if you look at the perspective, and you've got 18 feet wide by 14, so that's shorter. I'm shorter than 6 feet, but the S is, and the artist is very aware. We've already discussed things where there's a slight leaf on the one part of the S that can just not be there, and to ensure it. But
Looks kind of 3D though. It's cool.
It is.
Like the little leaves going on the S.
So approval process, but, I'm very proud of it. And I think a lot of people, we really want it to be something that people, for years, people stood in front of the old mural and took pictures and so forth. And I really, I wanted to start with the welcome to Stuart. I thought there was no reason to get rid of that. It was just something I kind of wanted to be the welcome committee for, that gets so much traffic. We might like to talk about putting a speed bump. But I just love the amount of traffic that wall gets, and I don't know what else I would put on it. So,
Thank you so much.
that's
It's
it.
terrific.
Well, thank you. I
Mr.
really
Vice
appreciate
Mayor,
the
do you have another
opportunity.
comment?
Yes, so thank you for spending so much money and time and expertise on having this. I agree with you. This will be one of those, people taking photos and putting them up on Instagram and tagging the city and your business. This is a great idea. I would like to amend my motion to include the artwork as presented. So not with none of the CRB recommendations. I'm going to trump the CRB. And exactly as presented, exactly as she has invested money into, I would like to override
What changes?
CRB. So they want her to come back with different plants and different birds and the different sailfish fin. I would just as well leave it
As
alone.
is, it's beautiful.
Just like if she likes it, she spent this much money on it. Let her have what she wants, exactly like she wants.
Does Mr.
Give her
Baggett-
$3,000 and
Does
be done.
Mr. Baggett need to address this?
I second the motion.
It is true under our code that you delegated the authority to the CRB. The only authority they have for final decision is art, public art. So they did make the decision, but you delegated the authority to CRB, so you technically trump it, as Commissioner Collins has said. I don't, well, within the authority to do that, I don't know that there would be any, I mean, if you guys, not, majority of you vote for it, I mean, that's up to you. But you did delegate the authority to the CRB, and that's the only final authority that they have. Everything else is advisory.
Thank you, Lee.
Lee, I did have a question. Would that mean,
We absolutely can.
sorry for the record, like that came through as a minor conditional use application, which was a separate agenda item. So
Yeah, that is true, it was separate. My concern is too, properly noticed, because that wasn't on the agenda today, because it was a separate resolution.
right, I just don't want to hold her mural up. I also agree that I love it as is, but that's my personal opinion too. This was a recommendation from the Martin Arts Council, and that's why the CRB voted that way. So I just want to get clarification.
And I guess the resolution approving it, clearing up the S, it's kind of vague anyway. I mean, what does that mean?
That was the only change, clearing up the S?
No, they had all
Right,
kinds of
what-
different ideas,
Yeah.
different plants, different sailfish fin. different-
No, those were just comments that I was trying to address because we had CRB members here because they would never see this item again. So the motion that was made with the conditions really was only to revise the S. Those other things,
In
as
any
far as
specific way?
make it more visible.
And I think,
So that's vague enough. We should be fine then.
yeah, and I think
Okay.
she discussed that they were already going to take away a couple of the leaves. Or
You go with orange.
I mean, and I'll
Questions
just,
about the
But that's,
flora and the fauna.
but that's all.
That's all. The other was pure discussion.
Then I would like to maintain my original motion.
No.
Sorry for the
Hold on here,
confusion.
Mr. Ray. He's motion madness thing.
Motion
We can keep
madness.
track of this. We're capable of doing
You
this.
never withdrew your first motion, so we're just going to go back.
I was
to-
amending, yes, yes. So we're just going to go back to the approving this
Madam
as
Clerk, do you
presented.
have the original motion?
Yes,
I
Perfect.
have a second by Commissioner Clark.
yes.
We're moving forward.
Forgive
based
the
on that.
madness. Thank you so much. I love what you have here.
I love it too. Beautiful addition to the city. Thank you.
can I make,
Are we clear? Commissioner Clark? You have a question? You have a light. Your light is on.
No, it was to deal with the,
The hidden
whether or
S.
not there were changes or madness, but since we're talking and I don't think it will cause a big change in your drawing, but I think that just the one orange at the top of the S there, maybe if that went away, that would also help the S to go.
Okay, I'll tell the artist.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with sufficiently vague.
Can't help, we have to touch it.
Second,
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the commissioner?
I have-
Board members?
yes.
Mr. Brechtel?
I just want to mention that the CRB, their only real issue was what the Arts Council mentioned was that the S got kind of, the way it was kind of getting lost in there, and so they wanted to see if they could do something with that to make it more visible. That we did get into a discussion of flora and fauna, and I don't know what any of that stuff is, and that wasn't a major
There's
issue.
no reason to bring that up at this point.
But that board realized that they do have the final authority, and they couldn't send it to you guys for comment or so. I think that they were kind of, they were open to some comment. The one comment that I made kind of jokingly was, let's make sure the sailfish is a sailfish and not, because we had that happen before. And so that was the only comment that I made, is that if that's not a sailfish, it should be one. But otherwise, that was what happened at that level. So I don't
Okay.
think we really have a conflict.
Thank you. Mr. James, Board Member James?
But my only comment is that Vice Mayor just trumped us, and we would have had an issue, but he amended that motion. Thank you.
Now, Commissioner Clark, apparently you have a concern.
Yeah, a couple of things. So I do agree about the authority of the CRB and then the idea of including whatever the Arts Council include. And it is important, and I think Ms. Small said it, people take pictures and so on. And if you actually take a picture in front of it and somebody says, oh, that's not a sailfish, or that's not this, that's critical. So I think it's important that she and her artists or whoever they make sure that all those things are right. And I think that they were pertinent in giving those comments. As to the fact of whether something is a native or non-native, I know that a lot of people use the monstera plant around here and they eat the fruits, and they were at the courthouse right there by the Arts Council at one time before they took them off. If we have guidelines, or if we need to have guidelines in the future for people who are designing things to say use native plants or native this or that, then, you know, but otherwise I think it's within the purview of the person who's developing these things. And I think it's fine for our area because all of these things are within our area. But if we're going to say that the city of Stuart only represents things that are in the native plant list and nothing else should be on anything that might even be approved or paid for through some type of grant with the city of Stuart, then we need to be careful about that. But otherwise, I think something prominent like the sailfish needs to look like a sailfish and must be must meet that criteria. I think that those are important, and we're not trying to deny or take away anything from the CRB. That is their duty, what they have to do, and they did a good job in identifying those things and calling them out. But I think that in the long run, when we do the final thing with approving the funds that you're bringing in front of us with this project, we also do have the authority to make sure that, you know, if we need to do one little final little tweak or something, we can be able to do it. And I appreciate you coming forward with this, and I think it would be a great addition to the city of Stuart and to the downtown area, and we do appreciate the input of the CRB and the Arts Council.
Roll call, please.
Board Member James?
Yes.
Board Member Giobi?
Yes.
Board Member Clark?
Yes.
Chair Rich?
Yes.
Vice Chair Collins?
Yes.
Board Member Breckbill?
Yes.
Board Member Reed?
Yes.
Thank you, and good luck, Ms. Small.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll come take a picture in front of you.
Happy
Same to you.
Thanksgiving.
That concludes our work.
Yeah, we got one more item, but I don't know.
Oranges aren't native. Oranges aren't native.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
Should have mangoes, right? What? Should have had mangoes.
Could have had pineapples.
should have
but the
mango.
oranges-
Eula's got a mango tree, don't you? Eula?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we have a staff update, please? On the Boys and Girl Club rear entrance gate. Jody.
Yes, good evening, board members. My name is Jody Kugler, the Development Director for the City of Stuart. This item was brought from the CRB or CRA board last in September, I do believe, to talk about the boys and girls traffic and circulation throughout the site and what the city can do to try to help with mitigate some of these impacts. We did have an opportunity to meet with the director of the Boys and Girls Club last week. And he is aware of there's some issues with traffic and speeding and parking along High School Road. And so I know that he's looking at different alternatives to try to see if he can work with the school board to open up the back gates and go along to Georgia Avenue instead of directing everything down High School or through Martin Luther King Boulevard. The other thing that we are also looking at is addressing the speed on the road on Martin Luther King and High School. So I am going to bring up our chief It happens to be that the next location for the speed trailer was going to be Martin Luther King, right by Boys and Girls Club, so that was relocated on Friday, and he can kind of give you some updates on that as well.
Hello. Yes, on Friday, we repositioned the speed trailer to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's between Smith Turner Park and the city garage. And after conversation with Jody, we have a speed sign that goes onto like a stop sign or a post on the side of the road that we'll move over to High School Avenue either later today or tomorrow and monitor that for the next 2 weeks and see what we have with a speed issue over there. And obviously with our traffic cars that are out on duty now, this will be an area of concentration for them as time permits between the other priorities to crack down any speeding issues. I know they've already spent time on MLK on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We haven't had them positioned on High School Avenue yet, just in order of priority. They've been on other assignments right now.
You have a question of the chief, Commissioner Clark?
Yes. Do you have any counts of who's using what entrance for their ingress and egress? Because I see the pattern when I do happen to be at the Boys and Girls Club. It appears that people they do come in from High School Avenue, and then they come out on Martin Luther King. I don't know if it's something that they've instructed them to do, but it seems like a lot of people come from the side and they come around the front, and because it's the way to pick up and go out that way easier.
So I do not have any specific counts. We have not been out there to track the number of cars coming and going. I think Jody might be able to tell us. I think they have a traffic plan where they wanted the cars to come in from High School Avenue and
Yes,
leave through
and
Martin
that's
Luther
what
King
they've
Jr.
been
Boulevard.
doing.
But that was developed by the Boys and Girls Club. We didn't have any influence or say-so on that, at least not to this point, not from the police department
Okay.
side.
And so in that regard, you don't have any current, or at least pre-Boys and Girls Club traffic count numbers on High School Avenue either? You've never had traffic counts on High School Avenue? That back entrance, with the school board?
Not available. I will check with Milton to see if they did any counts from his side. I don't recall any, at least none in recent history, but I'd have to ask Milton if they had anything from their traffic counter that they'll put out from time to time. I don't know if it was done in conjunction with construction in the past. I could certainly ask him to see if he has any data, but we do not have any at the police department.
And does the police department have any complaints from people who are either on like Fifth Street or Stipman, going towards, Balboa or Cortez in that area? Are they hearing from residents that there's more people in that area, or is it just directly on High School between East Ocean and the Boys and Girls Club where we have a problem?
I have not heard of any other complaints beyond that area, so no, I have not addressed any issues or heard from any citizens about anything beyond High School Avenue.
I'll actually answer that for you, Commissioner Clark, because I was, coincidentally enough, at 4:15 a couple days ago, I was looking at that ficus tree that was, up for debate on Stipman. And I've had friends who've lived on Stipman, 3 friends who've lived for decades, and I was really struck by how much traffic is on Stipman heading right for high school. And I was speaking to neighbors about the tree and also the traffic, and no, they're very concerned and very aware that there's a much higher level of traffic on at least Stipman. I don't know about Fifth, but I think we should definitely do a traffic count on Stipman.
Okay, all right, that's what I was trying to get at. See if we need to look at that.
Yeah, I will work with Milton and see.
And I was told that that's not even the busy time, 4:15 to 4:30. It's 5.
You were out there at 4:15?
Yeah, 4:15 to 4:30, talking about a ficus tree.
I have been told by citizens who live along Cortez that the stop signs that are out there are helpful in slowing traffic down because they're stop signs between MLK and East Ocean Boulevard at every corner.
Oh, absolutely.
That's from about a year ago or so when those were.
Well, they're on,
Yep.
Thank God they're there, yeah.
But you got, Stuart Middle was getting out at that time, pretty close to that. They would have been within probably 10
Well, I
minutes.
asked about it, and they just said, that, no, that's not even the busy time. The busy time is 5:15 to 6, so. If that's not the busy time, then that's really something. Commissioner Reed, do you have a question of the chief?
Yeah, it was going to be for traffic count as well. And this one, is for you, Jody. I know someone had mentioned that, did the Boys and Girls Club ever say that only employees would use High School Avenue or anything like that? Was that ever said at the original meeting when that was approved?
So this is a minor site plan. It did not go through any type of public hearing, so there was no requirements for that. So if there was conversation that the Boys and Girls Club had with the neighborhood, the surrounding neighborhood, the development department was not purview of that. They did demonstrate where they were going to be using the back gate to pick up the children in the evening between 4 and 6. They're not supposed to leave their cars. They basically circle through. They don't release children. We did talk to the director, and he kind of explained how they are working through the process. But if there was conversation, that is not something that was provided or studied through the development department.
All right.
Okay.
We'll keep you updated.
Anything else, Jody?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
So a solution is possible going out through the middle school there, right?
Yes, the director is reaching out to the middle school right now to find out what some alternatives that they can keep some of those back gates open to Georgia. And I'm going to let our intern city manager talk about that as well.
Hi, Louis Boglioli for the record. We did have a productive meeting with Fletch from Boys and Girls Club. Unfortunately, I reached out to the superintendent myself, but they're off this week. So we have basically a telephone callback meeting scheduled for Monday. And I left the subject was to explore that. Jody, the map that you had up previously? And so I myself drove this track, and the gates to Stuart Middle School were open over the weekend. So basically, it would be a natural flow to come in high school, pick up the kid, and then take a right there and follow that track around to what is the bus turn lane, go up a little more, Jody? Yeah. And then exit out of Georgia over there. There's a fence right there, a gate, that if that was open. And yeah, there it is on Georgia. So then basically they would make all rights all the way out. That seemed pretty logical to us. And we don't think that the Boys and Girls Club hours would overlap with Stuart Middle School's hours. Their school's already closed by the time Boys and Girls Club would be doing that. So that's the solution that we're researching. Fletch is going from his end. I reached out to the superintendent from my end. So we're going to try and attack this from both sides.
I mean, why do they say they have to keep that back gate open?
I don't know why they have to keep it closed. The issue is when I drove there myself over the weekend, they were open. So it was a very natural flow. It's already striped that way. I think that would be a good solution if the school board's open to it. I know they keep the gates closed during the school hours, but since this traffic issue aligns with the Boys and Girls Club hours of pickup, we're hoping that maybe we can arrive at an arrangement to leave that gate system open and allow the traffic to flow right through there and get out on Georgia. And because Fletch said even some of the parents U-turn inside their own parking lot and try to go back out high school, because that's the way they want to go. So several of the issues have been determined. They've discussed a crosswalk guard. They've discussed lots of things. So, I mean, this is certainly an issue that we're working on, and the Boys and Girls Club was interested in being a good neighbor and a partner with the city on that.
Okay.
Fletch will find a solution.
You're confident?
Yes.
Any other questions of Jody or the chief? Seeing none, seeing no other items for our consideration, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Mr. James.